Nerdcast assemble!
Stay dandy, baby. Greetings, fellow Gundam fans. Gundam Build Divers Re returns with another exciting episode which doubles down on the furry characters. That's right, yif yif, my friends. So we're only 3 episodes into Gundam Build Divers Re, and I can already say this is like 1,000 times better than the last season of Gundam Build Divers. The characters are actually changing, evolving. They have this little thing called motivation. And to top it all off, the series also has a tremendous amount of action and a surprising amount of heart. It also has something a little different than the previous Gundam anime that I have watched, and that is anthropomorphic animal people, the thing that I didn't even realize the Gundam series actually needed. If anything, it makes this series all the more distinctive, and I have to say that these NPC-like characters have got to be the most realistic NPCs I've seen outside of Sword Art Online. But let's get to the gooey center of this episode, which ultimately is about the formal introduction of another one of Hiroto's Core Gundam upgrades, the Marsfour Gundam. We saw it at the end of the last episode, it was teased at the beginning of this one, and when you saw that, you just know that it was going to pop up in this one right here. It also didn't really surprise me all that much because this episode's thumbnail on the Gundam Info YouTube channel totally showed that it was going to make an appearance. So I really wasn't all that shocked to actually see it show up. How it actually does appear, however, is kind of interesting, and that goes along with this entire episode, which involves Hiroto and his Build Divers team coming together and trying to defend this animal village against the evil of the one-eyed mobile suits. That's actually what's going on within this campaign. They're going to go from mission to mission as the story slowly starts to evolve as the series goes on, and in this episode they're going to have to battle against a group of marauding mobile suits. And this episode shows them coming up with a pretty cool plan. In the previous episodes they didn't really work all that well together. Here they're going to come up with a plan to block off these 2 entrances to the village and funnel all of these one-eyed mobile suits in one at a time so that Hiroto can actually finish them off. It's a really clever plan until eventually it doesn't start working, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that Kazumi is a complete freaking Leroy Jenkins. This guy is such an idiot. He wants to be the biggest, baddest leader and showboater of the entire group, but because of that, he actually ends up screwing up and allowing a lot of these enemies to make their way into the heart of the village. But even with that, Hiroto just absolutely destroys these mobile suits. And I have to admit, while it was really cool seeing that at first, I was like, okay, it is kind of boring that we already have a character who is way too overpowered, when suddenly the episode actually managed to surprise me, showing that even though Hiroto is quite a competent Gunpla battler, even he does have his distinctive weaknesses. And that weakness happens to be his emotions when it comes to caring about the Gundam Battle Nexus. Unlike, say, Riku from the last season, who was just perpetually happy all the freaking time and just loved the Gundam Battle Nexus, Hiroto is a little different. He respects this world, despite the fact that everything is incredibly artificial, and appreciates even the smallest things about it. And when he actually sees these NPCs, these fake characters living in this world and just trying to go about their normal everyday lives, something tugs at his heartstring, and it makes him want to protect it. Even when these 3 dumb animal kids decide to run out in the middle of the battlefield, he's forced to not only protect them, but also that other girl, Maya, at the same time. And he gets caught off guard by this. He even starts to get beaten by one of these mobile suits. That is until he calls in his upgrade, the Marsfour Gundam, which quite literally crashes into the scene and goes through a big epic transformation sequence. I love how he's able to switch from the Earth armor to the Mars armor almost in the blink of an eye, and it does the classic Gundam pose. It's really freaking awesome. And the Marsfour Gundam, I mean, let's just admit it, guys, it's the coolest one that we've actually seen in the series thus far. It seems to be a close combat mobile suit, and it even has this very massive heat-powered blade. And even by Gundam standards, this is a pretty big freaking sword. This is like what Guts would use in Berserk, except that it's all Gundamized, which is to say that it has this really cool heat effect that goes around the entire blade, allowing him to slice through one of these one eyes like a hot knife through butter. And so the episode ends with Build Divers being victorious yet again and preparing for the next part of the mysterious story, which sees the introduction of some brand new characters, such as the brother of Freddy and Maya, who is coming to the village for the very first time, a part of this resistance group going up against the one-eyed mobile suits. And that is the end of the episode. However, make sure to stay tuned. There is a post-credit scene, which is incredibly short. It basically features this weird, mysterious, naked dude watching all of the Build Divers fighting. starting. I have a feeling that's going to be our villain of this entire series, and why he's watching him being so mysterious is, well, a complete and utter mystery, but I can't wait to see what the deal is all about. So what's the rundown on this episode of Gundam Build Divers Re? Another pretty good episode right here. Like I said, like the previous episodes, not exactly reinventing the wheel in any sort of sense, but it's doing a great job of actually building up these characters and giving them emotion, giving them pathos. The character of Hiroto is interesting because he could have been one of those one-off Gundam characters who comes across as being really like isolated and gruff and hates everything. But even by the end of the episode, he actually starts to show some freaking emotion, actually smiling over the prospect of being able to save everyone in this village. It's tied to the fact that he had this friend in the past, that mysterious blonde girl, who also had a love of the Gundam Battle Nexus, something that he shared with her, and he wants to sort of carry on that feeling as he's going into this brand new mysterious campaign world and defending all of these villagers from this evil force. One of the biggest plot points of the episode is that there's this one NPC character, this old badger man who goes by the name of, I believe, Jirik or Jirsik, and he is very stubborn in wanting to protect his home, not wanting to leave it and wanting to stay behind and face these giant mobile suits. It isn't until he's forced by his other members of the clan to actually go and hide away that he realizes that, yeah, this shit's pretty freaking insane, and he also doesn't trust the build divers at all, especially Hiroto. But by the end of the episode, you can really see that these two characters actually start to see eye to eye with one another, and it kind of messes with your head, because you're like, this is a real character interacting with an NPC, and they're having like this weird emotional connection with one another, a connection that wants them to sort of protect this world. It's strange in a really good way, and very much like the very first season of Gundam Build Fighters, it sort of tricks you a little bit. I mean, we know that these are people in the real world who are playing a game, but there's a lot of moments here where they make it seem like that's not the case. When they're actually battling against the one-eyed army, you have scenes with little Par, who is battling against all of them and getting his ass completely handed to him, and it looks like in a second he's going to be destroyed, and they play it up like the character is actually going to die. As the viewer, you find yourself getting wrapped up in this moment and completely forgetting that this is just a bunch of kids who are having fun. And honestly, that's what I loved so much about Gundam Build Fighters. They would treat these seemingly random moments of no danger whatsoever as if it's a life-threatening situation, and you find yourself getting lost in the drama. It's ridiculous, and it makes no sense, but it works really freaking well. And I'd also be remiss if I didn't talk about the Marsfour Gundam. Like I said, I just love the look of it. Not too different from the Earth 3 Gundam in the sense that it's essentially just red armor compared to blue, but it does have a very distinctive weapon, its very own battle pose, and I have to say, the way that it actually entered the battlefield by crashing in one of the other mobile suits, just so freaking badass. I will say, I'm really enjoying this season so far, and I was going into it thinking that this was just going to be another shit show just like the last one, but so far it seems like Gundam Build Divers Re is cutting out its very own destiny, and it looks like it's going to take its time in developing all of these characters in a pretty unique way. Hiroto is already way more interesting than Riku ever was, and he's probably one of the best characters that we've seen so far from the Gundam Build spin-off series. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next. I can't wait to see where all of this story is eventually going to go. There's still so much mystery in what Hiroto is going to try and do by finding this girl, this mysterious entity that's following them. Not to mention, we still have 3 other main characters who haven't gotten the proper development yet, but still little by little their personalities manage to shine through in the episodes, whether it be in the actual battles in their distinctive mobile suits, or just the way that they interact with the NPCs in this animal world. All I know is, I liked this episode. It wasn't perfect, I felt the beginning was a little slow, but overall this is a massive improvement on the last season, which features some really solid action, some great characters, and of course, lots of great callbacks and mobile suits, and really, that's what we as Gundam fans really love to eat up. So, I'm going to give the episode a 4 out of 5. I'd love to get your thoughts about it. You can tell me all of them in the comments section below, and what you hope to see from the rest of Gundam Build Re. What did you think about the introduction of the Marsfour Gundam? Who is that mysterious entity who is watching them from the shadows? What do you hope to see from the rest of this season? Let's have a discussion about it in the comments section below. Thank you all for watching this review. Please subscribe to the channel for more anime reviews, discussions, podcasts, and more Gundam Build Divers Re reviews. I'll see you all next time, and as always, Stay dandy, baby.